The Nintendo Entertainment System, one of the most classic and revolutionary consoles, filled with iconic games such as Super Mario Bros., Metroid, and Duck Hunt. However, inside the NES's vast array of games, there are some lesser-known titles, and peculiar ones at that. Games such as Lucifer's Manor. Lucifer's Manor? Well, that was a game created by a small company called the Brockletons. They were trying to make one of the very first horror games ever. They published the game in small quantities, so it's extremely hard to find a copy nowadays. But if you do somehow find one, to tell if it's legit, you have to look for these signs. First of all, it should look like a second grader drew on the cart in art class. There should also be some scratches on the sides. These effects were added to make the game seem creepier, although I personally don't see how bad drawings are creepy per se. Although the card is black and it should have little red dots all over, if you somehow find the game, it is strongly advised that you do not play the game. Since I know at least one of you will find it and want to play it now, I'll break down what the game is all about, so you won't be as curious to play the game. It starts out simple enough with the Brockletons logo appearing on the screen, as expected, and then it goes to the title. Some cheesy 8-bit scary music plays, and the game starts. It shows the main character outside a manor. You walk up to the door and open it. After that, it's a first-person perspective, which is surprising considering this came out at the beginning of the NES era. You then have to go down a hall and strange music plays. It sort of sounds like a screwed-up version of Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. Just look it up. There are doors scattered around the walls. There are scrumbled Latin texts all across these walls too. Every door has a different key. Once you find the key, you leave the room and continue to the next door. The process continues until exactly the 9th door. After you get the key from that door, the music starts getting softer and softer, and soon all you hear is white noise. Also, the game starts looking worse and worse, as if it's degrading right in front of you. Then a face, which is thought to be the main character's, appearing on the screen saying Lucifer's Manor, and then a few words in Latin which roughly translates to Hell awaits. After this, the game crashes and all save data is lost, corrupted, missing. Sometimes, however, there is an occurrence where the game doesn't crash, and you're actually allowed to keep playing. When you keep on walking into the hall, you'll notice that the words start changing from Latin to English, saying nonsense like, he stole it, dinner's ready, and the ship is here. However, as you go further through the hall, the words get more and more disturbing. Words such as, off with his head, just kill me already, and spare me please, can be seen, sprawled across the walls, even. If you read the sentences, you'll see this frequent message: Kaimu is here. Nobody for sure who's played the game knows who Kaimu is, or why she is mentioned so much. Sometimes as you are walking through the hallways, a girl's face will show up on the wall and scream, and this is what most people believe Kaimu is. You'll also notice occasional bloodstains on the keys, some mysterious writing in an unknown language inside the rooms, and after the 15th room, the screen starts shaking, and you move slowly. At this point, the girl is shown full body in front of a faraway door. You start moving slower and slower as she gets closer and closer until she's right in front of you. She screams and the screen goes black. You get back inside a strange green room. When you open the door, you'll notice that you are in a completely different hallway. The walls are sprawled with hanging bodies, with slash marks all over them. The music changes to a much creepier tune, and the bodies start swaying. The words on the walls get worse and worse, saying phrases such as, what type of cruel god would do this? And let me out! Let me out! There is also more mention of Kiyomu. Kiyomu is waiting for you, and there is no escape from Kiyomu. Occasionally now, Kiyomi will appear far away, watching your every move. The new doors you go into all have harder and harder spots to find the keys, and after about 8 more doors, the walls start glowing as if there's a fire. Once you move about 12 more doors, you'll see the main door, and it's covered in spikes, and it is on fire. Once you get all the keys, you walk to the main door. They all get inserted in and the door opens, and all it is a black room. Kiyomi walks up saying, "I am thee," and the game crashes. All saves are lost and nobody knows what happens next. Now that you know what happens, you cannot play the game. Now why would that be? Well, the people that did all had different things happen to them. The people who didn't get to see the second part had bad things happen to them. For some people, their grades plummeted, or they simply got arrested for things they didn't do. Some were a bit worse, like their entire family would go broke, or just in general had bad luck for the rest of the year. However, for the people who actually did see the second part, they had much more severe problems. Some of the lucky people died, or had someone they loved die. For the most part, the other people who didn't would go insane, speaking of how Kiyomi is here to kill them or how she's torturing them. Some of them were even found hanging covered in slash marks. Obviously, after that, they stopped making the games and destroyed every copy that they could find. So, if you ever find the game, it is advised that you do not play it or immediately destroy it. That's a better option. Unless you have a death wish. What'll you know? A classic video game creepypasta. Except it's not on a video game that we all know and love. Zelda, Metroid, you take it, whatever. But rather on something called Lucifer Manor for the NES. Now, does this game actually exist? I took a look around on the good old interwebs and found nothing, unfortunately. I mean, I did kind of want a game called Lucifer Manor to exist. I mean, come on. NES horror games are few and far between, and, well, this one didn't seem all bad, but we'll get to that in a bit. As far as horror NES games go, the closest we really have is Sweet Home, and the horror there is debatable. And given the hardware, there's not much you can do with the NES, so we have to give some leeway there. One could argue we could pick a different system, but hey, we can have some spooks on the NES, no need to omit that from the creepypasta fun, right? But so far we have Sweet Home and, whatever you will, NES games, they really don't tend to lead themselves to the horror department. For one, though, on this creepypasta itself, Lucifer Manor, none of the things actually seemed impossible. I mean, you could technically have screams, shitty 8-bit screams, but still screams nonetheless. As far as visuals go, for sure you could display what's on here, and you could even have some screamers for all we know. I mean, it's not out of believability. You could showcase some weird, I believe in Sweet Home even, you had some, like, weird face-burning animation at one point. Heck, look at Bionic Commando with Hitler and whatnot. You could definitely have some spooky graphics shown on. That's not out of the case. And I don't think I can be the only one, but this feels a lot like what the NES version of PT could have been. Seriously, it kind of has to be that. The constant loops, the levels that keep showing up again, the girl, I mean, come on, it's pretty much 8-bit PT, and maybe it's because I played the everlasting fuck out of that game, as well as protecting my PS4 with countless bulletproof vests, even though I hated its puzzles, but that's an aneurysm for another time. The beauty is that the game works well, and personally speaking, playing PT did kind of allow me to visualize the game better, and that sort of, could change depending on if you have a similar gaming experience or not. It's a tad too short for my taste, could have definitely been more expanded on. Hell, give some creepy backstory, some kind of lore. I mean, it works for this kind of stuff if done well. I mean, yeah, we have times where we come across some really, really cringy levels of lore, but it can work if you really build upon the game. I mean, tell us what, tell us more about Lucifer's Manor, build upon it. Heck, this would be great if you showcase some kind of weird live forum, creepypasta format, such as, Mario, the ROM hack creepypasta. That format would have worked well for this one, if you ask me. I mean, just find a ROM hack of some game called Lucifer Manor or some weird NES homebrew. That would actually work well. But that being said, that was my look at this creepypasta, and that is just my opinion. And as always, I do like to ask, what do you think about the creepypasta, and what would you rate it? Let me know in the comments below.
This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, part of Creepypastas, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. Tune in this Saturday for another episode of Creepypastas or Haunted Gaming. This is me, Mudahar, and I am out.